Up the back.
Firstly, I think you're a much better politician than preacher. Secondly,
Geez, that probably means I'm bad at both, but I thought this was supposed to be a polite audience.
very polite. Secondly, you're surrounded by young people who are religious young people who are people of faith. How can young people of faith engage in the political process, and why is that important?
Okay, well, my first political mentor was B.A. Santa Maria, and the standard view of the movement, which Santa Maria headed, was that you should join the political party of your choice and do your best to influence that political party in accordance with your own principles and values, and I think that was pretty good advice. So I would say to people in this audience, you should be interested in politics. You should be conscious of the fact that this is a secular society, and so your political arguments should not be religious arguments. They should be arguments that can stand the kind of tests that they will rightly be subject to in our society. But nevertheless, you should be interested in politics, and if you are interested in politics, you ought to pay your dues, and that basically means joining the political party of your choice. Given that most people in our country at some point in time do have strong political views, I reckon that you've got a lot more moral standing to express those political views if you are a member of the party. I mean, it's like supporting Essendon but never going to a game, or Carlton or Fitzroy, all those other silly clubs that you people here in Melbourne are interested in. I mean, you know, if you're going to follow the code, you ought to go to a game. You ought to go to a game. And if you're going to have a view on politics, I think you ought to join whatever you think the best political party is and go for it. Now, I have to say that political parties like churches will often disappoint you. You know, their leaders will be less eloquent, less persuasive, less appealing than you would like. Their positions on some issues will often seem less than satisfactory because political parties are very, very human, more human in that sense than the church. But nevertheless, they're the best we've got, and until such time as people have come up with better ones, you should throw your lot in with the least bad or the best of the existing ones. Yeah.
Just on that last question, what do you say to a person whose political party of choice has gone beyond what they would consider acceptable?
Okay, well, in the old days of the movement, you had a political party, the Labor Party, which was doing what many movement members thought was the wrong thing. And some of them thought that they should leave and form a new political party, and others thought that they should stay in and fight, as the phrase went. And in the end, only the individual can make that decision for himself or herself. If you think that what the political party is doing is unconscionable, well, then you're probably obliged to leave. But if all the political party is doing is ill-advised or lacking in prudence, well, I think you are certainly able morally to stay in that political party and work against whatever the decision is. And I have to say that instinctively, I think that if good people leave political parties, worse people run the show. So if your political party is doing something that you think it would be better off not doing, my advice would be to stay there and do your best to change its position. Yes, we need more women. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Obviously, among some Catholics, even though there's a little bit of controversy. Now, I was just wondering, because remember you said before, like when you're a Catholic, you know what that abortion is wrong, you just know it. But when you're in politics, sometimes things are a little bit more difficult. Can you explain kind of
See, I mean, I accept the traditional teaching on abortion, but I don't say that abortion is the same as murder. And I don't believe the traditional teaching, properly understood, ever equated the two of them. And this idea, which unfortunately sometimes seemed to be supported by some of the more forthright right-to-life groups, that anyone who has an abortion is murdering her child, I think is philosophically suspect, and B, completely counterproductive in terms of bringing about what we want, which is as few abortions as we can reasonably have in a society where people will often do things which we would prefer didn't happen. Now, so look, you know, I mean, I think that a politician's duty is not to create a perfect world, but to build a better world. And in the case of abortion, our duty is not to stop all abortions, because I don't think we can stop all abortions any more than we can stop people drinking to excess, leaving their spouses, and all the other bad things that happen all the time in a fallen world. Our duty is to try to make it better. And if people were more conscious of the fact that it is a grave thing that they're doing, if people were more conscious of the support that's available for women who don't want to have abortions, and if all of us were kind of less judgmental and more supportive, and were more conscious of the heroism of the woman who is struggling to come to terms with a pregnancy, than perhaps of the error which might have made her pregnant in the first place, well then I think we'd all be better off. Yeah.
One thing that hasn't had much of a front on the media that I guess probably concerned Catholics is the Labor government private education. Do you know much about that and what the likely outcome is?
I'm sorry, something about education?
I think there's a committee set by the Labor government to review funding.
Well, everything's under review at the moment. I mean, you know, the standard response to all questions is, well, we've got a review in train, and in about 2020 a result will emerge. But look, I think it would be fair to say that a lot of people in the ALP are unhappy with the current funding arrangements. But to be fair to Kevin Rudd, I'm not aware that he has said anything other than he supports the current arrangements and doesn't intend to lightly change them. Now, how long that resolve, if it is as I seem to recall, lasts, who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I mean, I can't be responsible for what other political parties do. I mean, it's hard enough being responsible for what your own party does, but the good thing about the Howard government was that it did make it a lot easier for faith-based schools to start, and it did give unprecedented support for non-government schools. We know that because that's a fact, and how long the current government continues with that, we'll just have to see.